Oh, how you doing? It's hot up here. Yeah, come on in. This is the dark room. You want to walk in here? That's an enlarger. Well, I printed many pictures, but it's used as a storage room now because nobody works in the dark room anymore. Danny Lyon. I first became a photographer during the Civil Rights Movement when I was 20. I saw photography as a powerful political weapon. And one of my contributions in terms of being a documentarian was this early period in the Civil Rights Movement. I thought the best thing I can do is be involved, become a participant, and be the photographer. At that point, I had joined the Chicago Outlaws. I joined it because I wanted to make photographs of them, and I spent a couple of years doing that. This is a famous picture that I made from a motorcycle of another cyclist. This is a letter from Hunter Thompson, who got involved with the Hells Angels as a journalist, and in the end he got beaten up by them, which means he didn't have such a great relationship with them. And he said, I think you should get the hell out of that club. And I joined them, so meaning I felt these guys could do no wrong, and I saw things that were ugly and felt it was the proper way to photograph them. So what I argue in the text is, at this moment you're presented with two totally different concepts of what journalism should be. The seventh dog begins in the present and it goes backwards in time, and so the pictures get better and better. I mean, the book gets better and better, and the technology goes backwards also. But I think it makes for a much more sophisticated and interesting way to experience this work, and also a more honest way. We are in the present now. And revisionism is when you go and try to change the past, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted the past to be as it was back then.
Danny Lyon never made a picture he wasn't a part of. He was a 20-something dropped into a simmering pot of 1960s American scene that was about to boil. Civil rights, war, politics, culture, the landscapes of all things held familiar were about to change. Borders were being drawn simply to be crossed and erased. And it's safe to say that Danny Lyon was there, somewhere, at large, but largely absent from a world presented by life and look, and very present in his time of photography, films, and books. He is still there today, at large, always the protagonist, sometimes the antagonist, and always at work on a perpetual director's cut of his life's work. Each take revealing something old, something new, a performance that might include a rare track or an acoustic version of a well-known photograph, the liner notes from a life's work.
We both planned to be arrested that day, and since Mark was walking with a cane, we parked as close as we could to the Pentagon, arriving at the massive building very early, far in front of the marchers and protesters, which I now know reached 100,000 people. Just think of that astounding number, 100,000 people. This was a very early protest against a war that will go on for another 7.5 years. The Pentagon has long, flat steps leading up to it. And that morning, they were covered with interlocking rows of United States Marshals and military MPs. Soldiers held out rifles with bayonets affixed into the face of children that would stuff flowers into the barrels, while the marshals and the MPs stood in rows holding long batons, what we called billy clubs in the South. After making some pictures with a Nikon F reflex, I had removed the 35mm lens and buried it deep into one of the pockets of my blue jeans. I did the same with the flat body. 2 more rolls of Tri-X were deep inside another pocket. I might have removed the prism and wrapped that in a handkerchief. The idea was to get inside the jail with my camera. When de Souver crossed the line was being manhandled by the baton-swinging MPs, I went to defend him. 2 U.S. Marshals grabbed my arms, while another standing directly in front of me hit me across the crown of my head with his club, knocking me unconscious. It took either 4 or 6 stitches to close the wound. I don't remember. When I awoke, I had been dragged over 1,000 feet around the building, the largest in the United States. At the end of the building, in what looked like a loading dock, I was handed a number to hold across my chest while I was photographed. Then motioned into a waiting and near-empty prison bus. My number was 4, a mark of honor on a day that would see 700 protesters going to jail, the largest tally so far in the struggle to stop the war. Inside the bus, I reassembled the camera and began making pictures. First through the window of other prisoners being brought in. The number placed on Norman Mailer's chest was number 10. Eventually, this group was driven to the Alexandria County Jail and left in a holding cell about 15 by 20 feet, where I proceeded to make pictures of the dozen other protesters and Mailer, who was playing chess with a board someone made out of paper. When an attorney appeared outside the bars to speak with Mailer, I pulled the exposed film from my pockets and camera, handed them to the attorney with a note, "Get them to Magnum," where they were processed and quickly published.
With the eye of a documentarian and the soul of a radical, Danny Lyon made some of the greatest photographs of a greatest generation.